Today, a lot of people, they don't feel that good. They feel depressed. They feel lost. They feel anxious. They wonder about what the future's going to hold. So there's a product there they're looking for. They're looking for something. And what they've been encouraged to do is to take all that anxiety and do things that'll never solve the problem. If a kid's in school today, they're going to feel very nervous because actually kids aren't supposed to be in school. They're not supposed to be separated from their parents. And a lot of people don't want to admit that. That's why they feel nervous. And then when they're around other children, the herd instinct really comes into play, where to find safety, you got to kind of find your wolf pack. You got to find a popular group, and you're still going to be afraid because you'll never really fit in. See, the maturation of the child is supposed to be done over time in the presence of caring and loving parents, not in front of immature other adolescents, because the fear of not fitting in without sort of a strong interjecting force, such as a parent, can really change the way the brain functions. Basically, the child, when they're in school, their brain's always in fight or flight. They're always looking for the solution to get out of the anxiety. You're away from the parent, even though the child could be very mature physically. Neurologically, they're not ready to sort of be out on their own making these decisions. And so they're going to be extra anxious compared to, say, 100 years ago where they were working on a farm, or 200 years ago where they were working on the family farm. So they're going to be pretty nervous. And that's going to have this burden of this low intensity anxiety. And then what they're doing, because they know what they're doing inside the school structure, not that the teachers know, but there's a ruling force, a organizing force above the teacher. And so now they separated child from parent to make the child nervous. So you have this low intensity anxiety in the child that they want to relieve, because no one wants to be in that form of tension all the time. So now the teachers are being instructed to say, maybe this is the problem. Maybe you're sort of born in the wrong body. Now, no individual teacher is making that up. That comes from on high, and the teachers themselves never left this system of anxiety. So they went from being a student in this anxiety system, always looking for safety, looking for the safe group, looking for the safe card to play. They graduated high school, still nervous and in anxiety. And then they went to university where they still weren't sure about themselves. So they kept in the system. They never really developed their own sense of identity, their own inner strength. And then they go potentially to teachers' college. So it looks like they've made 3 transitions there, from public school to high school to university or college, and then to teachers' college. Basically, it's all the same. They're inside the system that I'm talking about. And that system never allows you to feel the strength of your parent next to you as you develop. They used to do this hundreds of years ago so you could produce independent, strong, critical thinkers. They're mature, they're moral, they're ethical. They let their inner guidance system help them travel through the world. And today, the way we're teaching our children, we're allowing the group pressure to mount. And a lot of people today It's like asking a fish what water is. The fish isn't even going to know what you're talking about. And that's how much group pressure the average person is under, is they're allowing their entire world, every decision that they fire out of their neurological system, it's based on what someone else is going to think about them. So no one's really strong enough to feel like they can handle the world because they don't have their own internal mechanism for governing themselves inside the world. So everybody's got this sort of low-hanging chronic anxiety. And again, today in the schools, the teachers aren't making these things up themselves. They actually don't make anything up themselves. When I was a kid, basically the geography teacher was a geography expert and would make up the geography lessons himself or herself based on what he wanted to teach. And today that's not the case. You have the teacher is honed in the skill of following orders and following the curriculum. They're allowed minor leeway to give them the impression that they're in control, but really they're not in control whatsoever. So the kids today are being told, yeah, you have this anxiety, and they're not telling the kids where it's from, that it comes from the system itself, and that they shouldn't even really be in the school. No teacher is going to explain that to the children. And then they say, well, maybe you're in the wrong body. Maybe these chemicals you want to take, and maybe you want to do these surgeries that are irreversible. And we've all been there. We've all had this anxiety. And thank God we weren't talked to in this manner when I was in school, because these things are irreversible. This isn't like, I think the worst things we did was get a tattoo or maybe experiment a bit. But it's going to take someone to explain to the children that this is a system and that it's designed to produce the depressed individual and the individual with a lot of anxiety. And then that person will always be perpetually looking for a solution. And every solution that the society offers will make the person more confused and more of an energy battery for the system, because they're going to be sold everything under the sun that never addresses the issue. So I hope that benefits some people. A little bit of a rant. This is Jason Christoph signing off. Thank you for listening.